Hello, worldies, and welcome back to my naughty little channel. Thank you to all of the new people who are subscribing. Thank you to everybody who is sharing my videos and just commenting your thoughts and whatnot. I really appreciate your support. Today, I want to talk about why they need your level up to fail. Now, sometimes people seem a little bit confused about what I'm talking about when I say they. So I'm just going to address that part really quickly. Every once in a while, I might get some sort of comments or something whenever I'm talking about these topics as far as envy, jealousy, whatever it is. And people will like try to basically say like, "Oh, you are surrounding yourself with bad people, blah blah blah," right? Something I've noticed when you are the pretty girl on the pedestal, you are definitely just damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because I feel like every pretty girl, if you try to gatekeep your presence, gatekeep access to you, people will accuse you of being a mean girl and having the you can't sit with us mentality. I feel like so many people would think it was an issue. Like, I remember a long time ago, some girl came out and she was like, "Yeah, if you want to be my friend, you got to basically like look like me. You got to be like, I think she had a BBL, like, oh, you need to have a nice body. Oh, you need to have like the same aesthetic as me." And so people were accusing her of basically being like superficial and this, that, and the third. I definitely, I could walk into, the grocery store and say, I'm not going to allow you to check me out because you're, from the face card declined club and I don't want to have a negative interaction with you. I could walk into a job and say, "Oh, you're a big back. So I don't want to work here. I only want to work with pretty women. I only want to go and shop where the pretty women are checking me out. I only want to like I would love life to be like that, right? But come on now, nobody would be okay if pretty women were, coming out saying that that's how they live. I only shop in, areas where the other pretty women are. I only work at jobs where there's all pretty women who look like me. Then it would be a problem. But because you're just a woman who's trying to live your life, no, everybody at your job is not going to look like you. No, everybody at the grocery store is not going to look like you. No, not every single neighbor, not every single person in your community. You might be sitting on a board in a club or something. No, not everybody in the club or on the team or whatever is going to look like you. So, yes, you don't have to have these deep, intimate bonds and relationships with people. You don't have to be surrounding yourself with toxic people in order to be having these sorts of negative interactions. Now, I definitely do my best to minimize this, but I'm just a human person. I got to go pick up mail too, like everybody else. I got to go grab a package too. I got to grocery shop too. I, I'm sorry. People are crazy sometimes. Like the stuff that I'll be hearing, I'm like, what are you talking about? So when I'm talking about they, I'm talking about all of the regular people. I don't want to say like I'm creating a hierarchy, like we're up on the pedestal and they're the regular people. But in their mind, a lot of times it is like that. You are the one up on the pedestal when you're leveling up. Whether, it's things that you just have God given that you were just born with, talent, beauty, charisma, personality, body, whatever. And, and then you're maintaining those things, or just even as you learn to develop new talents, develop new skills, nurture certain gifts that you're already born with, the more that you're elevating, the more that your social climate, you're going to gain more haters, more people, the people that you are outgrowing, the people who maybe want access to you, but you kind of are like, it's not that you're trying to be mean, but you kind of already look at them and you're like, I just kind of feel like there wouldn't be too much that we would have to talk about. And I'm the type of person where it's like I definitely like to compartmentalize people. I might be like, okay, well, I can't talk to you about this, but maybe you can be a kind person that I can talk to about this. But I like to be authentic when I meet people. Like I really like to, but at the end of the day, it's like, hey, your circumstances are your circumstances. You're just meeting people. Not everybody is just going to be a perfect clone of you. You're going to sometimes interact with people who need, they desperately need you to fail at your level up. You know, when you start leveling up, I strongly believe that you shouldn't just expect resistance, like a force against you of people just innocently, like assuming that you have the same habits, or just innocently like assuming and projecting onto you that that you guys might have certain things in common. People will actually actively try to sabotage you, and secretly, consciously, they will hope that you fail. Like literally, there will be people taking out bets against you. There will be people who become monitoring spirits, trying to figure out what you have going on, all of that good stuff, because a lot of times your failure is their comfort zone. For some people, if you're like changing your habits on your level up journey, and maybe you don't walk the same, you don't talk the same, you don't dress the same, you don't eat the same, you have different habits. Now you're waking up at 5 a.m. Now you're waist training. Now you don't eat junk food. Now you don't go to this place, you don't drink, you don't smoke. Maybe you're working on your spirituality, or you're becoming more religious. Maybe you're reading more instead of, maybe instead of keeping up with the shade room, now you're reading self-help books. Maybe, instead of gossiping, maybe you're doing more praying, more meditation. Maybe instead of, smoking weed and smoking hookah and stuff. I don't really know anything about hookah, so I don't even know if that is the correct verb for hookah. Y'all can let me know down in the comments below. Do you smoke hookah, or do you just inhale hookah? I don't know anything about hookah. I really don't. But maybe instead of that, now you are burning a nice relaxing candle. You're not smoking weed, you're burning incense. You're burning certain herbs, and you're making a, what do you call it, like a steam pot in your house, and all these different things. You're just changing your entire vibe, all of your habits and whatnot. Your old habits, they validated theirs. A lot of times people, they if they are, in toxicity, if they are having cognitive dissonance where they swear up and down. They swear, swear, swear. Oh my God, I want to be skinny. Oh, I want to be fit. Oh, I want to lose weight. Oh, I want to have a better life. Oh, I want to have better finances. Oh, I want to have this position in society or whatever. But then none of their habits actually line up with that. If you are the same, if you have the same habits as them, if you are also lazy and unproductive and not keeping your word to their self, or to yourself, then when they see you, they might like you a lot, because they're like, oh, well, see, it's okay that I do this because this other person does it too. And I feel like, especially when you're the person who has the hypervisibility, it's even more validating for them, because they're like, well, the pretty girl does it too. The pretty girl is lazy too. The pretty girl, she's experiencing cognitive dissonance. The pretty girl is not disciplined. The pretty girl is not consistent. And so, why can I not? But then once you already have the hypervisibility, you already have like a base level of privilege, but then you sit there and you keep nurturing yourself, you keep developing yourself and everything. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, maybe what I'm doing is wrong. Maybe if I say that I want these things, I should like actually start living like it, because I see, the pretty girl, she says she wants these things, and so she's actually living like it. She actually has the habits, the behaviors, the patterns to back that up. If you fail at your level up, it means that they never needed to change either. Like they absolutely love it. They want to see you start a new diet or start a new workout routine or something like that, and then fall off of it, because then it validates their need to not even start, because they're like, well, I would never even start that, because I feel like people, they always started, and then they do it for like a week, they do it for 2 weeks or whatever, they do it for a few months, and they fall off of it anyways. So instead of me starting it and acting like I'm going to do all that, I'm just not even going to, because people fall off anyways. People are not consistent anyways. So, why would I even attempt? Your glow up, and I say this all the time, your glow up, your level up, you changing and elevating is going to threaten their excuses. You're walking, living proof that you don't need to make excuses, that it is possible to be consistent and disciplined. Some people are, it's sad, whether it's finances, whether it's looks, whether it's weight, whether it's health, fitness, whatever, even just intelligence. There are so many ways in which people are using you as proof that their excuses are valid. that their excuses are okay, that their excuses are normal. Everybody makes excuses, even the pretty girl, even she makes excuses too. But then all of a sudden, once you're no longer making excuses, they you're just glaring in their face that, oh my God, people who say they want to lose weight actually can do it. And they actually don't have to make excuses, and they can actually achieve what they set out to. And they can be consistent for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, a whole year. Oh, that girl's been healthy and she's been on her journey for, 18 months without falling off. She's been leveling up for the last 24 months. I don't need to sit here and make excuses. They hate that. They literally, a lot of times, I think I've made a video before about are you a part of the sisterhood of mutual mediocrity? Once you start rejecting their way of thinking, you may be around women who are, or maybe you may have at a point been around women, whether it's at a job. It's just, I feel like that is kind of just like amongst average women, that is kind of like the tune of like kind of self-loathing, like, oh, we're average, we're at the bottom of society, boo beauty standards, boo patriarchy, blah 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 blah. And it's like, okay, patriarchy does suck, like, of course, obviously, like that, I'm not going to like disagree with that, but in my opinion, I don't see why, like, why are you, like, I wish sometimes people would just be honest. Like, say I'm obese because I lack discipline, I lack follow through, and I'm lazy, and I am afraid of the hypervisibility. I treat the more petite girl, the thin girl, the slim girl, I treat her like shit. I treat the girl with a nice body like shit. And I am afraid to end up looking just like her, the same weight as her, the same nice body as her, and then I'm dealing with all of the hate. I don't want to be on that side. I feel more comfortable being on the side where everybody's comfortable being around me. Nobody's intimidated by me. Everybody sees me as like the unintimidating, the unassuming, the dumb, ugly, fat friend. Like, I like that because everybody likes me. Nobody has an issue with me. Nobody's trying to prey on my downfall. It's more comfortable like that. They have to, if I were to level up, then I'd have to confront the fact that the girls that I was, being mean to or talking shit about, they never really deserved it. I would have to, basically confront the fact that they were never mean girls. They never necessarily thought they were better than me. I was just projecting on them the whole time. And then I'm going to have to deal with people projecting onto me. A lot of times, people, they're just not comfortable admitting the fact that their excuses that they're making, they are not valid. Everybody doesn't make excuses. They like this reality where everybody is self-loathing. Everybody claims they want something but then never follows through. Everybody falls off of their diet. Everybody falls out of off of their workout. But, you know, when you are consistent, you continue and you just keep reaching new levels. For them, it is very triggering because, you know, let's say you've known somebody for the last 3 years. 3 years when you met them, let's say, you know, you guys were both overweight. But then in the last 3 years, all of a sudden, you haven't seen them in a while. And you run into them again, all of a sudden you're snatched. Everything is sitting just right. Your skin is glowing. Your hair done got thicker and longer and shinier. You done improved your makeup skills. You have a better curated aesthetic. You speak better. You walk more confidently. Your money is up. You're getting to the bag. You have a better life. And they are sitting there still stuck in the same excuses. That is like their biggest fear, is to see somebody who started off maybe in the same spot as them, or they started off in a spot they did not feel like it was intimidating, or they didn't feel like that person was doing much better than them. And then all of a sudden, they see you literally change and improve. They hate that because it's like, wow, we both had the same 24 hours times 365 days in a year times the last 3 years, and I've been stagnant, making excuses, experiencing cognitive dissonance for the last 3 years, claiming that it's impossible, claiming that everybody who loses weight just goes on Ozempic, claiming that everybody who does all of these things, that they're bad people and that they're starving themselves and they have EDs. This is a normal, regular person who's kind and sweet and awesome and all that. And they don't have access to any Ozempic, or, they don't have an eating disorder. I see that girl. Sorry. She's eating, she's, living her life. She's just being consistent. She's just putting the work in. And wow, it was really possible. I could have been looking like her, doing what she was doing. I had 3 years. And they're like, wow, like that's crazy. Instead of shading her, instead of trying to pull her back down, I should have been, I could have had a buddy and I could have been looking like her. These 3 years passed and I could have been looking snatched like her. I could have been glowing and everything like her. But instead, 3 years later, I still don't have no edges, still looking like a blob, still looking shaped like Mike Wazowski, still a big back, beluga, back, backpack shaped back having bitch, still hating on everybody, still broke, still don't have any of the things that I claim that I want, still trying to make all the excuses as to why I can't get it. Your failure, that's their comfort zone. Your glow up, it pulls them out of their comfort zone just to see proof that it is possible. They don't have to stay stuck in their excuses. I feel like a lot of times, them wanting your level up to fail is rooted in power dynamics as well. People want you small because the small you is predictable. It's safe, it's non threatening, they know what to expect. But the leveled up version of you, that new version of you, that creates new boundaries, you have new standards, it's going to force them to step their game up or get left behind. Because this is the thing, something that I've noticed along my level up journey, it's not even that I'm like, oh, I don't want to sit with this girl anymore. I don't want to talk to this girl anymore. Oh, I think I'm better than her. But literally, like the things that you talk about, like the topics, you just have literally nothing in common anymore. I've been in situations where it's just like me talking about the most casual thing, just like making small talk. Like, I did not realize how like little privilege certain women experience, to, like, I will say, like the most base level. Like, if you're experiencing pretty privilege, you might maybe rank different tiers of benefits that you've gotten in society. You will just be casually talking about the most base level thing that I guess you kind of just thought everybody experienced, and literally trigger a girl's whole life. I've had situations where I'm talking to a girl about one whole other topic, and then I guess I let slip unconsciously. I'm not bragging, I'm not flexing, I'm just having this assumption that this is so basic, this shouldn't be triggering, it shouldn't be taken as bragging or anything like that. And all of a sudden you just see somebody's whole demeanor flip. When you're just trying to have small talk, you're just talking about a certain situation, you're just like, you're literally just chatting. And then all of a sudden, this girl is hella triggered. She's mad. She's feeling like you're bragging and you're trying to rub something in your face. She's trying to humble you and everything. And you're like, damn, girl, you're trying to humble me over that. Wow. Like, that's why sometimes certain women develop this whole kind of, I don't know, you can't sit with me type of situation, because it's like, that's the most base level pretty privilege I've experienced. And you were that triggered and trying to humble me over that? What if I really told you about, this S level, S tier experience that I had? You might be trying to unalive me. You might be trying, like, it's literally insane. You will talk about the most base level, simple thing that you would just assume, like, I you just thought that everybody experienced it. You didn't think that it was going to be triggering. Like, my mind doesn't even go towards, oh, bragging, or trying to rub something in somebody else's face. I'm just trying to talk. And that's why sometimes I've learned that, around certain women, it is just best to keep your mouth shut, because, or just stick to things like the weather. Act like you can relate to them about certain things, because uh, you will, like, it is really hard to be authentic and just talk about certain things, because it's like, ma'am, I didn't you're triggered by that? Like this? And it's insane because it's like, it's not even that they can just hear it and, either in their mind mentally say like, oh, I've experienced that, or I haven't experienced that. It's, I haven't experienced that. Oh my god, she's experienced it, she's experienced that. Like, that's a real thing. People on social media that I've tried to claim are lying and fabricating different things that they've gone through, they're not lying, they're not fabricating. A real girl in my town, in my city, has experienced that. Oh my god, I need to try to humble her. So it's tough. They really get triggered by that. And I feel like they don't like the new standards that you keep, because all of a sudden they start kind of noticing that, their habits would be unacceptable to you. Maybe they're talking about something they do. You can see this whether it's weight loss, whether it's their habits, whether it's what they put up with in relationships. I've seen this with women where they're sitting there talking about their man, and I'm literally like, I'm sitting there like, oh my, because of the way that my standards are set up, I'm like, oh my God, like, girl. And I'm sitting there trying to give this girl a resource, trying to tell her, like, well, you don't have to put up with that. I'm trying to tell her, like, oh, like, trying to let her know, like, oh, your man hates you, or like, oh my God, that's so dangerous. That's like a warning sign or a red flag of this or that or whatever, just because I'm trying to give the girl information, because I'm assuming that you're telling me as a cry for help. But then they almost start getting offended. Like, what do you mean? I was just trying to like trash my husband. I was just trying to trash my man, and I just assumed that you could relate, or that you were going to be like, yeah, man, men suck or whatever. Like, yeah, I hate men. And you're like, oh, like, you don't put up with that. You're thinking that you're saying that you would leave. You wouldn't put up with that. You would leave at the first sign of that. Oh my God, I've been putting up with this for the last 10 years. I've been putting up with this for the last 7 years. Oh my God. Like, they get triggered to see that their behavior, like, and I've said this, I believe I've touched on this before, when it comes to dustily partnered, dustily married women, women who are currently dustily partnered, they will get very triggered if they find out that their man is like not good enough for you. Because that's what a lot of women want. They want to feel like everybody wants their man. But if they find out that your man literally would be like scum to you, or you like wouldn't even turn their man's way, or like worse, you pity them for dealing with the treatment from their man, they're like, oh my God, like, I was trying to flex this, and like, and I don't feel like this with every woman. Like, there are certain women where I'll meet them, and like I'll meet their guy or whatever, and I'm like, okay, I like that. Like, do he have a friend? Because okay, I like this. This is cute. I'm feeling this, and like I really like it. And it's like, I don't want to say it's hope, but it's like it is, proof that like, oh yeah, my standards of what I want, it exists. Yeah, so I am going to dismiss the men who need to be dismissed, and you know, uh, this is a real thing, that proper treatment and everything. Whether it is someone where they're just dating the guy, they're married to the guy, or whatever, you can say, yeah, I'm not going to entertain any guy who isn't like that. I'm not just coming up with some fictional man. That man exists, and I believe that he's in abundance. And, it's all about just setting your standards and not entertaining what you don't want to deal with. But when you are failing, it's going to keep these other women feeling as if they have you under their control. Because as you're leveling up and you're creating more boundaries over your time, over the way that people speak to you, over the types of things you'll put into your body, the type of activities that you'll participate in, they're going to slowly start realizing that they either need to meet you where they are, or they're not going to have access to you. So they need you to fail, that way they can keep the access, that way they can you know be able to have time where they're spending with you, or be able to bond over the same dusty mentalities and whatnot. They like you being consistent and safe and predictable and non-threatening. They don't like when you're growing and you're changing, you're pursuing new things, and you're being consistent, and you're leveling up, and they are getting to see the proof that, yeah, over the last year where you were sitting there hating on girls who do XYZ and claiming that they're too superficial and claiming that they're mean girls. You were putting all of your energy into trying to tear them down when you could have just been becoming one of those girls. You could have been doing that. A lot of times, you know, their envy makes it so that they want to sabotage you. It's not that they doubt you necessarily. It's that they more so feel compelled, like they need you to stay exactly where they are. Because if you succeed, it exposes that they could have done it. It is possible. Especially like because a lot of times whenever like people will see let's say like a woman who's like an actual celebrity or something like that, like I feel like this can get worse when you're just like a regular girl, like a regular girl like everybody else, because then they see, wow, she same town as me, same city as me, same state as me, same, access to whatever type of resources, same tax bracket. People love trying to claim like, oh, this woman has unattainable beauty, it's not possible. But then when you look like the celebrity who has access to the personal trainer, has access to the, maybe like what do I want to call it? I don't want to say like black market, but if you have a lot of access to wealth and whatnot, you can get these things that have not hit the market, that are not access to the general public. And so people want to claim like, oh, well, the only reason that they can get fit is because they have access to this, that, and the third. But then when you're the regular person in their like vicinity who's accomplishing it, they're like, what? It like everything that they tried to say to basically discredit, this girl only looks like that because she got surgery. They looking at you, they're like, girl, you live where I live. You did not get no surgery. I did not see you sitting down for no 8 months in the house trying to hide this, that, and the third. Oh, you were able to achieve that with just stuff you got off of Amazon, or just with stuff that you were able to get in the grocery store, just stuff in your pantry, just consistency, just walking, just not being a freaking big bag. That's crazy. Using, just your basic free resources around you, you were able to achieve all of that. That is what's more triggering, I think, to them, because it just goes to show that, like, yeah, you have access. No, you are not too poor to glow up. No, you are not too, poor to lose weight or whatever. People love to try to claim like, oh yeah, well, I have to be a big fat because I'm poor. There are fit, beautiful, poor women everywhere. Like every single place that you can go to, there are poor women who are fit, who are snatched, who have beautiful skin, who have long, thick, healthy hair everywhere. So, yes, you could be doing that too, but they don't like seeing the walking, living proof that their excuses are bullshit. You know, they feel as though, you know, it, it's easier for them to try to like disguise their sabotage as love, because they know, a lot of them, they start scrambling as they see that you guys are losing things in common. They want to maintain access to you. And so they start overcompensating. They might even start love bombing or whatever. They'll start saying things. This could be men, this could be women, whoever, no matter who you date. This could be friends, family, this could be men in your dating pool. If you are somebody who dates the same gender or whatever, you might notice that amongst them as well. They'll start saying, like, oh my God, you don't even need to lose more weight. You're fine just the way you are. You're beautiful. Which is really saying, like, stop leveling up. I'm comfortable the way that you are. I don't want you to keep leveling up. I don't want you to keep achieving new things. The height that you're at right now, what you've already achieved, is so triggering to me. Please, I'm not going to be able to handle if you keep getting hotter, if you keep getting thinner, if you keep getting sexier, if you keep social climbing. You're triggering me already, and you're at a level 2. You're at a level 5. If you dial it up to 10, if you dial it up to 11, oh my God, like, I'm not going to know how to handle it. I'm going to short circuit. Please, please stop. Please stop leveling up. They'll start saying things like, oh my God, like, don't take life so seriously. Like, just relax. Like, it is like, it's not that serious. I've noticed that a lot whenever I interact with people who are from Gen Z, who are like, these are like the brain rot, the world is ending, so I should just be fat and lazy because we're all gonna die anyways type of people, from Gen Z. They really hate seeing people who are like, okay, maybe the world is on fire, maybe this is happening, but if the world were going to end tomorrow, it's going to end with me still pursuing my goals and achieving the things that I set my mind to. They're very much like, chill, take a chill pill, relax. Like, oh my God, you're so uptight. You care so much. Yeah, yeah. Because like every time, like, okay, people said that the world was going to end in 2012. People said the world was going to end in like 2020. People are always saying that. And all the people who were just being burnouts and crash outs and, like not actually achieving what they wanted to, the world is still here and you're still obese. Yeah, the world is still here and you still have not social climbed at all. You still have not developed yourself in any type of way. I'm not going to be sitting there living as if, oh, there's no hope for tomorrow, so I might as well just be mediocre and average. Nope. Even if the world ends tomorrow, I'm going to be exceptional. I'm going to be driven. I'm going to be accomplished, all of those things. I also feel like sometimes you will get that. You'll get like people love to try to call you uppity, snooty, bougie. Why are you being so bougie all of a sudden? Like, oh my God. And they always want to have this kind of tone where like they're trying to like disguise it. They can't just come outright and say, I am intimidated by your growth. I am feeling left behind. You are proof that my excuses are bullshit. They have to dress it up this type of way. Oh my God, like it's always going to be that type of tone. They're going to come at you that type of way. And it's always going, like the undertone, the subtext is always going to be stop leveling up. Stay where I'm feeling like you're predictable and you're safe. Like I look in the mirror, and for the last 3 years, I've seen the same reflection. I've seen the same body that looks like a melted bowl of ice cream. And I want you to be the same. I don't want you to be looking in the mirror, like loving what you see. Like, I'm one of those people, like, I swear, I love being naked in the mirror, especially like as I am improving myself. I love taking pictures. I love just seeing my progress and everything. Like for me, things like, you know, playing dress up or, fashion and hair and nails and makeup, all this stuff is fun because, I am my own living doll, my own living Barbie doll. I love dressing myself up in different styles, different aesthetics, and it's fun. When you have a body that you don't hate, it becomes more fun to buy new clothes or to, try a new aesthetic because, just in general, you feel better. You feel good about yourself. You want to look in the mirror. You don't mind having a scale in your home because you're like, yeah, every time I hop on the scale, I'm going to see that I'm either maintaining or maybe, it's going to fluctuate a little bit. Your weight is usually going to fluctuate between 1 and 5 pounds, but, depending on your digestion, depending on your bowels, depending on your hydration, things like that, depending on where you are in your menstrual cycle, bloating, things like that. That's all just going to be normal. They don't like having a scale in their home because they don't want to be held accountable for, yes, that whole, oh, I'm just eating whatever I feel like eating, or I'm just grazing, whatever. Yeah, that grazing made you gain, 20 in the last 6 months, you've gained 20 pounds. Yep. All that time where you were sitting there like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't want to be bougie. Like, oh, I'm fine the way I am. Well, guess what? You're not even the same way that you were 6 months ago. You are 20 pounds heavier. People don't like being held accountable by their own self. You don't even need to be held accountable by the people around you all the time. Sometimes it's just, you yourself. keeping track of what you're eating, keeping track of your hydration, keeping track of your fitness, keeping track of your health, going to the doctor and things like that, getting your checkups, even going to specialists on what certain things, getting people to analyze like your blood and your minerals and your vitamin deficiencies and whatnot. Yes, you actually have to then be accountable for your habits and what you've been doing. A lot of times, they are projecting as well. Like people are going to project their own failures onto you. The way that uh they feel as though, like, if they have this mentality of that's impossible. Like a lot of times, like I said, people will try to use that with celebrities and whatnot. People who have access to more resources, they want to basically claim, they want to keep making excuses. I cannot lose weight with the resources that I have available. How can you not? If you can't even afford food, then why are you so obese? If you're in so much poverty, why are you fat? Like, I'm sorry. Sometimes I start thinking about situations with certain people, and like real situations, and I get a little triggered, but I'm trying to keep things from getting too personal. But you know, they want to say that because their mentality is that it's impossible, what they're really meaning is that it's impossible for me. But they don't want to add the for me onto the end. That is going to force them to take ownership that it's not that it's impossible. It's impossible with their limiting beliefs, with the excuses that they keep making. Yeah, if you keep making excuses, of course it's going to be impossible for you. But the next person over who is not making those same excuses, it's not impossible for them. It is possible. Your ambition, your consistency, your discipline, it's going to remind them of the way that they're neglecting their own body, their own health, their own fitness, their own mental health. They're neglecting their finances, they're neglecting their opportunities, they're neglecting their dreams, their goals, their aspirations. I have touched on this in another video that I put up, where I was talking about, are these people sabotaging your level up? I was talking a little bit about inner child and the inner adult. Their inner child will feel abandoned when you stop indulging in the same destructive habits that they are. They feel like they're getting left behind, they feel like they're being abandoned. When your inner adult is in the driver's seat and it's saying, okay, yes, I could have this right now, or I could have delayed gratification and end up putting in the consistency, being disciplined, and then in 6 months I will be able to have this. In a year I'll be able to have this. Every time I have a craving, I'm not necessarily going to give it to myself. There's even certain ways that your body, let's say you're craving chocolate, or you're craving salt, you're craving this or that or whatever. A lot of times there actually is a more like efficient way to solve the craving. It's not even necessarily that you want this or that. It might be that, oh, right now, what you really need is more iron. What you really need is more phosphate. What you really need is more sodium. What you really need is more calcium or something like that. Oh, what you really need is more vitamin E. And no, you don't have to eat 5,000 calories to satisfy that craving. If you get right down to the vitamin or the mineral that you want, yeah, it might not taste as good. Yeah, your inner child's taste buds who want to taste this, that, and the third, yeah, they won't be as happy. But guess what? The craving will still be satisfied, and you're still in your calorie deficit. Like sometimes you just have to know, you know, sometimes like something I've noticed for myself, you just have to realize that your weight loss journey, your glow up journey, your level up might not look like everybody else's. And, you have to do what you have to do in order to make it possible for you. Everybody is different. Like for me, I've noticed that certain things are a weakness. Certain things I cannot keep in the house. Chips, I can't keep in the house. I can't buy chips because the chips will be gone. They're not gonna last a day or two. They're not gonna last a week or anything like that. Like that is my thing. That's one of my things. Same thing with like bread. Store bought bread, I've noticed I don't have an issue with. I'm like, okay, store bought bread, like it's always gonna be there. But for me, freshly baked bread, yeah, that's a trigger for me. I can't do it. I cannot. If I bake bread, it's gone. Like it's going to be gone. I'm going to be like, "Oh my god, this is so good. It's so warm. Like I love the smell." And I'm like, I cannot regulate myself when it comes to that. So then I have to have the habits that, you know, reflect that. Some people, they go to the store and they buy healthy food and they buy junk food, and they know how to just portion it all out. They won't overeat and they'll still be in their deficit, and they know how to just pull out 12 chips or whatever. That's not me. And so I do what I have to do. I accept who I am, where I am right now in my journey, and I make my goals and my dreams possible for me. I don't put myself in a situation to where, you know, like I feel like sometimes people, they will try to make it seem like, oh, it's a bad thing if you can't even have it around you or whatever. That's just where you are right now. That doesn't mean that it's always going to be like that for you. There may be a time where you can get there. Like me recently, I've been able to get to the point where it wasn't even always like that with store bought bread for me. For a while, eat like bread of any kind was a trigger. For a while, pasta of any kind was a trigger for me. And I had trouble regulating myself. But I've gotten to the point where it's like, okay, well, if I buy bread and it's in my house, it can sit there for a while. I can throw it in the freezer. It won't. I'm just like, it's whatever. Like it's just I don't. You know, that's not going to bother me anymore. And it took time. And for a while, I just didn't buy bread. But then eventually, I did, and I was like, okay, I can control myself around bread. I can make this bread last. I don't even have, the taste for it. But then I kind of realized, then through more experimentation, okay, well, if I bake the bread, then that's an issue for me. If I bake a good and I don't know what it is. I just like, I love the feeling of accomplishment. I love feeling like, oh my God, like I did it. I'm so proud of myself. And then I just want to taste like my craftsmanship. I feel so good. I'm sitting there like, yo, like I did this. Get it, girl. Get it, get it. You can bake bread. You can bake this or whatever. And then I just want to keep eating. So, yes, I love all that type of stuff, all that, making everything from scratch for certain things. I'm just like, hey, I'm not there yet. I cannot bake a new good every week because then I will be a bake back. That is something that I learned. I had to stop doing as much baking. I used to bake like a lot. I used to do a lot of baking and everything. And I was gaining weight because it's like when I made it myself, then I was just like, ooh, yes, yes. Like every bite was like, yes, I did this. And then it's like, especially when you're, you know, like baking is definitely more of a science than cooking is, I will say. Cooking is a lot more experimentation, season until your ancestors whisper in your ear to stop. Versus baking is like ratios and science and chemistry and everything. Like you can't just say, "Oh, I'll put a little bit more salt in it." No, it's not gonna rise the same way. Like it's gonna deflate or something's gonna like, you know, it's gonna come off wrong. And so for me, like learning, because baking is such delicate science, sometimes like when I make something and it comes out better than before or something, or I put a substitution, instead of using this, I'm going to put aquafaba in it instead, or instead of using this, I'm going to, put applesauce in it instead. It I feel so accomplished, and then I want to overeat. And I've had to learn that, my inner adult has to step up and say, nope, we're not doing this. Even though my inner child is like bouncing from foot to foot, so excited, like, please, like that would be so fun. My inner adult has to basically swat her hand and be like, no, we're not. And then they're just like sometimes arguing with each other, like, are you sure? Like, pretty, please. And I'm like, no, 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 we're not doing this because sight set on this. You cannot see the vision yet. I'm the adult. This is what we're doing. And I know best. And this is what's going to happen. I feel like a lot of times if your inner adult is in charge of your life while somebody else, like your haters, if their inner child is the one who's in the driver's seat, their inner child is the one controlling their life, ruining their life, their inner adult is still asleep. It's triggering. It's a big problem to them. People, those wounds go deep. Things like rejection and abandonment and whatnot. Those are, very motivating and activating types of emotions and feelings for people. People don't like to feel rejected or abandoned. And a lot of times that's how you're going to make them feel. You keep brushing up against their deepest wound. Every time they see you, they're feeling abandoned. Even like let's say you have to cut somebody off. Let's say, you've decided that, you know what, I'm not going to keep putting up with your sneak disses. I'm not going to, you know, keep putting up with, you know, I'm trying to be all inclusive, trying to act like this is a come one, come all. I'm the Statue of Liberty. Bring your broken, bring your weary, bring your sick and tired. No, you can't bring all that. You start saying, like, no, I need people who have similar habits to me because I don't want to deal with all of these awkward situations where people are basically trying to make me feel bad or make me feel like it's not that serious, or I'm just trying to talk about a simple thing and then somebody's triggered and they're trying to humble me. They see you acting like maybe you just keep it to a high and by. Maybe you really act like you don't even know who they are anymore. Maybe you're just like, who is that? Like, who? That that is going to trigger the mess out of them. They're going to feel very abandoned, very rejected. They're going to continue in their self loathing. They're going to just start looking at their choices for their life, and, it just becomes a repetitive cycle. They kind of oscillate between self loathing and hating themselves, and then, acting like they hate you when whole time it's like they don't even hate you really. They're just like, they really admire you, but they haven't like stumbled upon that realization yet. They want your inner child to be the one running your life. They want your inner child to come out and play with them so that they don't feel alone in the sandbox that is their sucky life, their sucky, shitty body, their sucky habits, their sucky routines. Think back to when you were a child. If somebody didn't want to play with you, that could be really hurtful. That made you really sad. And that's how they feel. They have their inner child that's running their life, that's in charge of their psyche. And they feel some type of way when you don't want to sit there and just binge with them, when you don't want to sit there and, hate on celebrities. As you're leveling up, you're going to like slowly start developing more empathy for celebrities. You're going to judge them less harshly. You're going to critique them less harshly. And you're going to start looking at people who do like really harshly judge celebrities as people who just like are no longer safe, people that you just kind of don't get along with as much anymore, because you're going to be dealing with certain celebrity issues, you know, being hyper dealing with people who are hypercritical of you, dealing with the hyper visibility, being nitpicked, being, picked apart and everything, people paying attention to your every move. You're going to start seeing yourself more so in celebrities than you do everyday average mediocre people. You're going to be like, oh, well, if you feel like that about a celebrity, you're probably you're going to end up feeling like that about me as well. You're also going to, the same way you feel about the celebrity, that's how you're going to feel about me. And it's going to start making you be more cautious around that person. You're going to start wanting to distance yourself, and it's going to trigger their fear of abandonment, their fears of rejection, those deep wounds that they have from childhood. They will cheer your failures. Like they will be literally, you will see this sometimes, like when people they hear that you have some bad news or something like that, and the corners of their mouths start turning up. I've literally experienced people like they don't even, sometimes they just don't even, they're such a hater that they're not even aware of their own micro expressions, or sometimes it's not even a micro expression. They literally have a bright pearly smile on their face whenever you're experiencing some sort of hardship or whatever. They literally get happy if you fail, you know. It's different. Like I feel like if you surround yourself with people who are more so aligned with you, if you talk about falling off, of your diet or being inconsistent or something like that, they're more so going to be like, oh, like I understand, it happens, don't feel bad, this is how I get back on track. They're not going to sit there and be like, oh, like even if they're like saying like, oh, it's okay, it happens, it's going to come back around to productivity. Like, oh, this is how I keep myself from falling off, this is how I course correct. Versus these people who are your haters, these people who need you to fail so desperately, they're either going to try to like lull you into comfort by saying like, oh, it's okay, it's fine, all that stuff is not that serious anyways, or they will literally overtly be happy and celebrate. can't even hide it. Like, just so shameless. They can't even hide it. They will literally feel relief when you slip up, when you fall off, because it reassures them that you're not really any different. Like, they, especially if this is a person where people are always looking to confirm that they're not all alone in this big wide world. They want to feel as though other people around them are similar, other people are just as undisciplined, other people are, also experiencing cognitive dissonance. They have the one thought that they claim they want this, they desire this, that, and the third, but then none of their habits actually align. They want to see you being just like that. And they want to see, well, we're not that different. We're all lazy. We're all inconsistent. We're all undisciplined. They don't want to see that you can actually stay consistent or that you can course correct. They want to make you stay feeling bad if you do fall off, if you do have an issue with your consistency at a certain point. They want you to start feeling bad about yourself, and then, falling off for a weekend turns into falling off for a week, into a month, and then all of a sudden you're the same weight as them again. That's what they would rather see. They will even make jokes out of your setbacks because they want to pull you back down. They might even reveal, like, girl, I didn't want to say anything, but I knew you were going too hard. I knew you were not going to be able to keep that up. Like, I knew you were doing too much and everything. Which isn't even really a joke, but they will have different ways. Like, it might be a joke, it might be, shade disguised very thinly, very thinly veiled as something. Sometimes they'll even something I've noticed with people who are like these haters is like they will say stuff that's not even a joke. They'll just say it in a joking tone. They'll be like, I didn't want to say anything, girl, but I knew it. I knew you were not gonna keep that up." And it's like, you literally are being hella shady right now, and you're not even being discreet. Like, your tone is joking, but the words that you are actually saying are giving, "I'm a hater, I've been preying on your downfall." And then, you just have to say, like, okay, noted, this person has been preying on my downfall. Distance, stay away from them. That's part of the course correcting. Stay away from them. Take your L's in silence sometimes, or if you're going to talk about your L's, take them, you know in a community, like, open up about them in a space where other people are going to actually not clap at your setbacks, not cheer on every time you fail. Because these types of people, the ones who need you to fail at your level up, they don't ever clap when you win. They are feeling sour and bitter. Their face look like they smelled something bad. They're dismissive when you win, when you celebrate something. And when you stumble, they'll be ready to throw a whole damn party. Like, they are so happy. Like, and it's just so sad to me because me, I'm the type of person where it's like, I just can't relate. Like, I really cannot relate. And I'm thankful that I cannot. But I do feel as though, one thing that you can realize when you're dealing with these people who are constantly trying to, in whatever way, try to make you feel bad about your level up, realize that the reason, like, don't take it personally. Realize that your leveling up, your progression, your glow up, your social climbing journey, your weight loss, your getting hotter and fitter and sexier, all of that is just holding up a mirror to them. They would hate anybody who's achieving and happy and feeling good about themselves. They hate it because they can't relate. They don't feel good about themselves. They don't like what they see when they look in the mirror. And it shows that they settled for something that they didn't really have to settle for. Not everybody has to live that mediocre and average life. Some people really are exceptional. Some people really are taking life seriously because they want serious improvement. They want serious benefits. They want serious privileges. They want serious transformations. Some people, it's not even that they love you, and that is something that is kind of hard to reconcile. Whether it is friendship, whether it's like associates, just people like you kind of casually knew, but you felt like they were cool, whether it's family members, whether it's a partner. Like, as you're leveling up, you start realizing, like, wow, this person never actually liked me. They never really actually loved me. They loved that version of me that was mediocre and average and made excuses. They love the limitations that I put on my own self. They love the box that I put myself in. Once those limiting beliefs are gone, once those once those limitations, once those, um, kind of like mindsets that keep you small, once all of that is gone, all of a sudden they're panicking, they're scrambling, they're trying to humble me. All of a sudden, they never really liked you that much, anyways. All of a sudden, they always knew you were fake. All of a sudden, they always knew you were superficial. All of a sudden, they want your failure because their failure is like, when you're failing, it just justifies their laziness. A lot of people, they don't want to see you succeeding because they use your past failures or your past stagnancy as justification. It's not enough for them to just be lazy. They need to justify their laziness by scanning everywhere in the world for, I'm mediocre. I can't just be mediocre by myself. Let me find examples of other mediocre people. It's not enough for me to just be average. I need to go around and try to convince other people that they're average too. But their need for your failure, it reveals a lot. If somebody is acting basically like they need you to fail, or they're happy at your failures, they like you better when you're stagnant, they like you better when you're leveled down, it is just a confession that they feel leveled down, that they're aware that they're leveled down, that they're aware that they're stagnant, they're aware that they're lazy, that they're making excuses. It's not even necessarily, like, that's why I said don't take it personally. It's not even necessarily that they're rooting against you. It's like they're rooting for their comfort zone. Change is uncomfortable for people. People love being in their comfort zones. People don't want to, like, a lot of people, they, I don't even know what the word is that you would use for. I don't think I would say like narcissistic, but some people, they just want to be the expert in every room that they walk into. They want to act like they have all the answers instead of dealing with, what actually helps you grow, which is saying, like, hey, maybe I know a lot about this, but I don't know anything about this. I'm sure there are experts, there are people who have done it before, and I'm going to kind of refer to them, or maybe refer is not the word. Defer is more so the word. I'll defer to them, for the information. They have the body I want, so I'm going to listen to what they say. Like, instead of me just feeling as though I need to, protect my ego by believing that I'm the expert on everything. This person who actually has certain things that I would like to achieve as well. Let me see how they feel about this, and say that, I'm open to being proven wrong. I might be wrong, and that would be the best thing. You should want to be proven wrong, because like, you should, as you're leveling up, you're going to have to get comfortable with the leveled down version of yourself being proven wrong, that everything you want is possible, it's acceptable, or not acceptable, it's accessible, you can get it. But the things that you believe, the preconceived notions that you had about access, about, it being unattainable, you'll have to admit that you were wrong about some of those things. When you're continuously being ambitious, being driven, you have high standards for yourself, for the people around you, you're consistent, you're disciplined, it's going to threaten the group equilibrium, whether that is the friend group dynamic, whether that is the family story, whether that is, the workplace or whatever. Whatever that environment is, you're going to basically threaten and throw things off balance, because a lot of people, they're more comfortable just sitting there complaining about everything they wish they had. And when you are sitting there, maybe you're locking in. I've been seeing like a lot of people talking about how they're so excited for fall, they're so excited to be able to dress in layers and just kind of pop out with their new body next year. Oh yeah, sometimes that's what happens. Sometimes you lock in during the fall, during the winter, and then all of a sudden, come springtime, you start popping out with a new body, and people, you didn't even tell people that you were changing your habits. People will literally feel like betrayed. Like I've had that where people are like, "Oh my god," like they literally feel like you left them behind. They feel like you have betrayed them by betraying, your commitment. You did not honor your commitment to mediocrity and to being a part of the group that is always making excuses for everything. So don't ever like mistake their doubt in you, or their their tune of basically trying to make it seem like you don't know what you're talking about, or you're taking life too seriously, or you care about things that you don't need to care about. Don't mistake that as like wisdom. Even if it's a very loud voice, even if it is like the majority or whatever, that doesn't mean that it's right. It's just their survival instincts kicking in. They're trying to protect their own comfort, their own status quo, their own limiting beliefs, their justifications that they're creating in their head for why they're still average, why they're still mediocre, why they haven't improved. Remember that their need for your failure, it is like the biggest receipt that your success is inevitable. Sometimes people will see your gifts, your abilities, your ambition, your power before you do. And so, they're trying to sink their claws into you. They're trying to, get their hooks in you to try to make you feel like they want to almost infect your mind to try to get you to have a mindset. They want to make sure that when they are not around, that you are going to carry their mindset of, oh, it's superficial, oh, it's not important, oh, it's not that serious. They want to basically go with you everywhere. They want to be the voice of doubt. They want you to pay more attention to them. That's why they'll even give you certain things, like, you will literally be dealing with, you know, isolation or rejection from certain groups as you're leveling up, because they're basically trying to bully you out of your level up. They want to make you feel as if you've done something wrong. You didn't do something wrong. You just look better than them now. You just look like, to them, that's how they feel. It's not even that you feel like that. But, they want to make you feel bad for your confidence. But it's like your confidence might be coming from, accomplishment, competence. They want to make you feel like you can't do anything right. They want to make you feel like, you can't trust your own instincts and everything, because they know that, like, they just want to have more authority or control, more power over your life. That way, like, all of the hoops that they will jump through, all of the effort they will put in just to justify staying average, just to justify staying mediocre. It is literally insane. They don't necessarily need you small because you can't grow, because it's impossible for you. They need you small because they are placing limitations on their own self that makes it impossible for them to grow. Like, your failure is going to be their validation. They don't hate just your glowing up, they're more so hating what it's going to say about them. Oftentimes you think back to certain ancient civilizations, the crowd cheers when the gladiator falls. Like, people are so bloodthirsty. That's what they want to see. But don't give them the show that they're begging for. If they hate you when you leveled up, to level 2, you went from level 1 to level 2, give them what they want. Or don't give them what they want, because what they see, they want to see you fall and fall off. But subconsciously, like, they want something to gossip about, they want something to talk about, they want to feel like they have a villain, they want to basically use you as a scapegoat for this or that. So if they're giving you a little bit of shade, a little bit of trouble at level 2, okay, dial it up to level 5 and say, how do you like me now? Level up again to level 10, 10 extra level up. See how they like you now. Say, oh, okay. You're gonna try to act funny with me when I all I did was level up a little. Okay. You dislike me now. Now you're gonna hate me because I'm gonna get my ass is gonna get fatter every time you see me. Like, this is if you're the type of person who likes having you like having a nice, like, thick booty, thick juicy booty. Like, I know that's not everybody's thing, but some of us, we like having a snatched low waist and fat old ass. Every time you see me, ho, every time you see me, I'm gonna be snatched-er and snatched-er and snatched-ist. My ass is gonna be fatter and fatter-er and fat-ist. I'm gonna be hot and hotter and hot-ist. I'm gonna be badder and badder and badder and badder. I'm going to be more and more and more and more of everything that you hate. I'm going to hold up a mirror to you and all of your failures even more. You're going to think of me every time you reach for a donut. Every time you go and get a Big Mac. Every time you go to In-N-Out. Every time you go to Whataburger. Every time you go, I'm just trying to think of random like restaurants. Every time you go to Wingstop. Every time, you go out and you're ordering food and you acting like it's for two people, but it's really just for you, you're gonna see me being snatched every time. Every time. Make these bitches hate you. Because I'm telling you, I put up a video about this the other day. Being hated is a status symbol. You should be concerned if you have no haters. If you have no haters, you're you're not controversial enough. You're not, you're a little too average if you have no haters, if nobody dislikes you, nobody's preying on your downfall, nobody's trying to start a rumor about you, nobody's trying to like nitpick you. You're not doing enough. You need to dial it up. You need to get more consistent. You need to glow up a little bit more. You should have haters, yes. You should have people who are like foaming at the mouth waiting for you to fail. That's how you know you're becoming more and more successful. That's how you know you're social climbing. Yeah, that's what you need. Every time I get a new troll, every time I get a hate comment, I hop on my stepper and I say, okay, well, yesterday I did 45 minutes on the stepper. Today I'm dialing it up to 90. Oh, okay, well, I made sure that I got, 10,000 steps in today. Oh, I got a new hater. Now I'm doing 15,000 steps. Oh, yeah. Make, like, they're going to hate you regardless. So at least, like, give them a real reason. Like, because I feel like you almost kind of owe it to your haters because it's like, if they are putting in all of that energy towards hating you and preying on your downfall, you like give them something really satisfying. Because this is the thing, like I feel like for them, it's more satisfying if you've leveled up to like a level 10 and you have a fall from grace all the way back down to like a level 0. Like it's not as satisfying if you just level up to level 2 and then you fall down, you backslide a little bit. Make sure that you are so on point that really give them a show if you ever have a fall from grace. Really, really give them something to talk about. If they really need you to fail so bad, it means that your success is already haunting them. They go to sleep thinking about your snatched waist, about the fact that you only have one beautiful chin. They hate it. Every time they see you getting prettier and prettier and more confident, and now you flip your hair and you walk like a valley girl, and you sitting there and you got a stank bougie ass walk. They think about that. That is like what they see in their nightmares. Is you getting hotter and fitter and smarter and all of that. And I feel like you just owe it to them. Like I feel like why not? Like they're already paying attention to you. Give them a show. Like really make it worth their while to be hating on you. Because I feel like if anybody were to find out that they were hating on somebody who literally only has like a little bit more than them, I feel like that would be so embarrassing than them. But I feel like people would kind of justify them hating on you if you're like, well, damn, like I see why you're hating on her. So like literally, like come on, like justify their hate. Like make it worth their while. So what do you think, worldies? Let me know down